Welcome to Thoughts That Can Change Your Life with me, Reverend Lee. Suffering is optional. And I know that's going to bug a bunch of you. Say, no, no, no. Yes, it is. Suffering is different than pain. Pain is that which is associated when we physically hurt ourselves, when we've got a cut, we've got a broken bone. That's pain. That's not optional. But suffering is a perspective. Suffering is a perspective on how we look at things. So the experience of past suffering and the potential for future suffering are not a reason to suffer now. Did you get that? Suffering is a way we see ourselves in the world. Are we a creator or are we a victim? Unfortunately, most of us have been domesticated into believing that we're victims. That's right. You heard that right. You've been domesticated. Just like a dog, a chicken, a bird, a cat. You've been domesticated into believing that you are not powerful, that you don't have control over what you feel. But in reality, you have control over what you think. You have control of what you speak. You got a control of what you do. And you got control of the feelings that you put behind that. And you get to choose whether or not you choose the feeling of suffering. See, when you truly understand that you are a unique, whole, and perfect expression of love, and you came into this world to become more aware, you realize that we have one thing in common with everyone else. We're all unique expressions of love. But at the same time, you realize that no one's expression is going to be like yours. Everyone's expression is going to be different. So when something happens to someone else and you think it's affecting you, that's very narcissistic. It doesn't really affect you. It depends on your perspective and how you see it affecting you. Yesterday, I was at a wellness festival here in Dallas area. And I met a neighbor there who I didn't think would be at this festival, quite a ways away from our homes. But she was manning one of the booths. And we were talking about her family, what little I knew. And she mentioned that her daughter, who's probably in her mid-40s by now, had moved back with her. And I asked about her grandson. She said, my grandson passed. And it's devastated them. Absolutely devastated them. He didn't just pass, he took his life. And as we were talking, I could see the pain. And I said to this beautiful woman, I said to her, when the body and mind no longer serve the soul and its ability to go on, the soul releases the body and releases the mind to continue its journey. That's what I believe. I also believe that that young man came here for a purpose and he lived that purpose. How you see his death. Are you seeing what is missing from your life now? Or are you seeing all that he brought to your life now? Are you looking into the void without him? Are you looking to the past for the gratitude that was expressed with him? You see, it's a perspective. Now, grieving in this sense, it's a real thing. It's a process we go through. But I know people who've been grieving for years and years and years. And that grief, that chosen feeling of suffering has held them back. And they're not expanding. They're not growing. And if you've been listening to me for a while, you understand that when we stop growing, when we stop expanding, when we stop seeking to be more, our bodies and our minds begin to deteriorate. Because the mechanism within us realizes that we're done with life. Therefore, why keep life vibrant? The people who have the most energy, the people who are the healthiest, are the people who are creators. Suffering is an option. And I'm saying you won't ever not suffer, but you can pull yourself out of it pretty fast, realizing I've got to look at this situation differently. I've got to see myself in this situation differently. There are people starving all over the world, people dying all over the world. Ask yourself the question, what is it mine to do? And if it's not yours to do based on where you are with what you've got, you can't go into their suffering. You lower your vibration. I don't know what good that does. In fact, I don't believe it does any good. It lowers your vibration. Pretty heavy talk today, isn't it? But the reason I'm bringing this up is that when I was at this wellness festival, there were all these people there. There were all these psychics, card readers, people selling stones and crystals, other types of modality. And I realized that everyone there, as I watched, was looking for something to give them a quick fix, something to stop them from suffering. And I was talking to a woman that was there. She runs a holistic store. And I said, "What do you see?" Her comment to me was this. He says, during the COVID 2 years, people isolated in their homes, and they were able to take down their facade, their protection. And now they're back in public. And they feel naked because they don't have that protection up because they've taken it down for so long. And the question I ask is, if you're being you, why do you need to be protected? If you're being you, why do you need being protected? You, being you, authentically you, is enough. It's always enough. Putting on a facade and being something other than you are, that's suffering. And the suffering should point out it's time to become yourself. It's time to say, I'm okay. It's time to say, it's okay to be in public and be me. I don't have to change for anyone. I wasn't brought here to fit in. I was brought here to be unique. I promise you, you won't be the only one being unique. I'll be there right with you. I won't sacrifice Lee to fit in, because then I would suffer. And I choose to be free from suffering. You get to choose today. You get to choose how you're going to be in the world. Why not choose love? Love doesn't suffer. And neither should you. With that, make it a great day. Until next time, aloha.